going there. It was taking its sweet time to show me it was live. That's on me. That's a delay because it was taking its sweet time to tell me it was actually live. But welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Sounds of the Hardwood podcast. It's been a long break since we last had an episode, but we're back again, and we're going to go over the latest news in NBA involving the trade deadline moves that were made, whether they were the winners and the losers of that trade deadline. Go over the buyout market. I mean, it's not a lot of options there, but there are some players' names who have circled around that potential teams would want to buy them out if a buyout did occur. And then we're moving towards the All-Star weekend and all the festives that come with the All-Star weekend. How y'all guys been doing? How's your weekend been going?
Been going good.
Yep, definitely going good.
Got a trade finally for
I
Ben
know I
Simmons.
said it. I
Pete
know I
just
said
still
it.
celebrating.
I know I said it before we started recording, but you got the party here. Like you just woke up. Like this is some Will Ferrell type. And I'm out here just chilling. I'm living my best life right now. You're gonna have to get that Harden jersey to go up there. You're gonna have to put them right there next to AI.
No, I can't do it. Can't do it.
Well, it's only fair, right?
You can beat.
No, I can't do it.
I'm surprised you don't have Embiid up there yet.
I thought about Embiid, but then I was like, if it'd be my luck, like I get Embiid, and like 2 years from now, he's like traded somehow or something. And like,
oh god,
I like to wait till like a player is out of the league, like. But my original concept, like I said, was going to be 3-point shooters and have that. I might still change that up at some point, but some of them jerseys, especially like the retro Ray Allen, was like way too expensive just to put in a frame. So,
got you. Well, we're gonna get there eventually. We're gonna get there and beat in the Harden. If they win a championship, they gotta go up there.
Yeah, Embiid will go up there. Harden ain't ever going up there. There ain't no way. You'd have just as much luck getting a Westbrook jersey up there as James Harden.
Oh, that's what we're doing today? Okay. I didn't even mention them yet. I was going to talk about them, but I wasn't going to mention them now. But okay,
Norm Fisher said James Harden from Mayor Philadelphia.
Is your back a little bit sore from
Mayor Philly? Oh man,
back a little bit as sore as Westbrook's because you have to sit out so long. You know, we hadn't had a podcast in a while, so back might be a little tight.
Damn.
I mean, it's okay.
I haven't been on the podcast in 2 months.
I'm not. We'll get to the Lakers, but I'm not a Laker fan. That's gonna be like, oh no, like, I mean, they're horrible right now. I'm not gonna sit here. They're terrible. Like they're horrible. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like they're not trash. They're trash. I wouldn't go to their game for free right now.
So those faces just like Price. He's just like,
I mean,
they're trash. I'm not gonna lie.
He corrected himself. You know,
they lie. They're trash right now. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like they're a super golden team.
I'm waiting for Coach Norman Fisher to say something about the Lakers. I'm just waiting.
They're horrible.
I'm just waiting for it.
At this point, I'll take Air Bud over Russell Westbrook. Anybody's a better option than him. I don't want to see him in a Laker jersey no more.
That front office, though, like, how do you not? I mean, you got so much dead weight. Like, how could you not like trade Bazemore for like a second rounder to clear a spot for somebody else? Like, how do you not get off of DeAndre Jordan? Like, stuff like that. Like, you could have done something. You didn't have to do a big move, but something.
Had to do something. But I know y'all. You want to just start with the Lakers? I feel like that is
no. We don't.
No. I just had
we'll ease our way into that.
I feel like that's what's happening right now.
No, we'll ease into that eventually.
The shots is ready to be fired.
I mean, for
my one got in on the action. She said, not Airbud.
I mean, playing teams aren't really worth the discussion. So.
Los Angeles Bad News Bears, Coach Norman Fisher. I knew it. I was waiting for it.
They're terrible. They're terrible. I'm aware of that. I know Henry is just licking his chops because he got all the Russell jokes ready to go.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, there's a couple of teams that didn't make moves. Like only the Lakers. I mean, the Knicks needed to do something too, and there was rumors out there of that horrible trade that almost went down, and thankfully it didn't. Mm-hmm. That the Knicks basically would have got draft picks that really would have not really done much, especially with Coach Tibbs, because obviously Tibbs doesn't really, how can I put it in a nice way? I guess he doesn't like using the younger players. He'll play them, but Tibb is more vet savvy, and he doesn't like that. And then we got oh my god, the comments are funny. Yeah, you don't even want to know. But yeah, like Tibbs likes the veterans, but like for me, it's just like that trade that went down would have just been an awful trade. Just like the Knicks would have got draft picks, and they would have basically lost 3 players. They would have lost Noel, they would have lost Reddish and
So
Burks.
that's what we're starting off with, the losers.
So we did, as far as we go on the losers approach.
Okay,
we might as well just want the loser. I mean, you just start with the Lakers.
I say the best for last, I guess, just to say the best.
I mean, look, the biggest 2 losers were honestly the Knicks and the Lakers. Let's throw that out there.
I gotta disagree with you. I think the biggest loser is the Lakers. The Knicks not so much because their expectations for the Knicks aren't that high. So expectations for the Lakers are.
I mean, that's true.
With 3 superstars, and
but that trade, though, I felt like almost went through. That was a bad trade. That was a horrible trade for the Knicks.
Obviously, if that trade went through, and let's say the Lakers would have gotten Reddish or Burks or
they would have got both. They would have in that trade. They were getting both Reddish and Burks. The Knicks were getting draft picks and Dragic, and the Raptors were getting Talon Horton-Tucker and Nerlens Noel.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, the Lakers thing was the,
Coach Number Fisher, I agree.
We get a bag of chips because I feel like I'm gonna need a snack.
Tibbs is getting fired. That's why no trades are made. I agree. I've been preaching that for a while.
I mean, if you look at the Knicks, like Soto said, they don't have expectations to make the playoffs because they're so far out this year.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking at it long term, you've got to see what Reddish can do. As far as in the grand scheme of things, you've got to see what Grimes can do. You've got to play McBride. You've got to play the younger guys if you're already out of it. Like you can't sit there and say, well, we have a chance. We might be able to leapfrog a couple teams. It's not going to happen. Like unless a team like Atlanta, for example, unless they fall off, and I don't even see that happening because of their strength of schedule being easier. They already had one of the harder schedules.
Right.
It's just going to be tough for the Knicks to climb up from 12th. Obviously, they'll probably overtake Washington, but I really don't see them overtaking somebody like Atlanta or Charlotte. And then Brooklyn's free falling with a hard schedule coming up. They may drop down, but I think once Durant comes back, and then Simmons, we'll talk about that because of the trade. But I think they'll push up in the standings. The team in the East that I thought should have made a move, they didn't have to, but I thought they should have, is Chicago, for the fact that they don't beat winning teams and they're not healthy. Like they could have gotten another piece for right now to kind of help them until like Lonzo comes back. Patrick Williams, nothing like earth shattering, but at least got something for the front court to give you a little bit more stabilization from the power forward spot. In the meantime, and then on the West, Utah really needed to make a move because their move was Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who's sitting behind Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, and then Jordan Clarkson. Like that's not going to do anything for you. You needed to shore up another front court player to get you scoring potential because right now Royce O'Neal and Bogdanovich are your forwards. And that's not going to cut it because Rudy Gay's hurt. So, like, I could see them kind of falling down in the standings as well, especially with Denver rumored to get Murray and Porter Jr. back sooner rather than later.
Yo, I'm so dead, Keem. Keem, your dad's hilarious, bro. Knicks will literally have a big 3 next year with Zion, a.k.a. Sherman Klum Jr.
They're putting all that weight now.
Cam and Barrett. I mean, that's the rumor that's been floating around for a while now. But I mean, I don't know if that's either a trade or whatever. But that's, an option. I think the Knicks have been exploring. I think that's why they did
Reddish.
Those three guys are best friends. So I mean.
And we're the 3 best friends. I couldn't help myself. It was right there.
And when we get into the Simmons part, I have my take on that.
Gotcha.
So all right, so I guess the consensus are Lakers' biggest loser right now. So we'll leave that.
Nick's not far behind though. I'll be honest with you.
I'll say the Lakers will be the biggest losers after March 1st if they don't gain considerable upgrades for like Bazemore, who they can waive. They can waive DeAndre Jordan. If they don't get replacements off the buyout market, that upgrade that team to stabilize the rotation, then it's a lose all the way around. And like, what is the front office doing? But if they get 2 or 3 upgrades and really solidify the rotation, because you don't need starters per se, you need upgrades for the bench depth and guys that can they can put in variable lineups.
Gotcha. So I mean, y'all seem to do the pattern. Y'all did one East and you did one West conference. What was it? In the West, I kind of have like a 1A and 1B only because the obvious choice is I think my Lakers should have done something, especially if that rumored trade that they could have traded Russell Horton Tucker Jr. and a first round draft pick for John Wall. If that was a true trade and they declined that, I think they should have done that.
I know it was just Westbrook and Wall. Westbrook a pick just for Wall, and they said no for the pick. The Lakers. Okay,
because I feel like at this window, you're not really valuing draft picks that high when your window is LeBron, AD, and Russell. I guess right now.
Exactly. No, I agree. I didn't understand why they didn't pull the trigger on that either. Yeah. I didn't understand that.
And I think Denver is a loser, and I say that because you keep running back the same team, and you have the same issue year after year right now. Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray have been hurt the last 2 seasons, and they haven't done anything to upgrade the depth at those positions. I'm not saying you got to go make a move to go get a superstar, but could you move some role players to give you a more solid starter right now?
Who, like a Campazzo or one of those guys?
Like a Campazzo or Aaron Gordon, because for what you're paying Aaron Gordon, is he worth that contract? No. And then now you have Michael Porter Jr. on a big contract who's always hurt.
Right.
So you're basically the Nuggets are saying to Jokic, okay, yeah, you can go win MVPs, you can go average a triple-double, and then maybe sometime down the line you'll have a healthy Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. at the same time.
There's a rumor they might both come back this year. Now that's the new thing that's floating around.
Yeah, it's supposed to sooner than later, but
them coming back is, Jamal Murray hasn't been as injury prone, but Porter comes back, gets hurt. So what do you do if he comes back, gets hurt again? Then you're in the same position you were before. It's like, okay, you got Murray here.
Well, that contract was stupid that they gave him. I'm just being honest.
Is it fair to Murray to ask him coming off an injury that we need you to look like an all-star, superstar caliber player basically right away?
They need him to look like Bubble Murray, how he was when he was in the bubble, basically.
Essentially right away. He don't have that time to get his feet wet. So, so that's why I said that team. And I'm similar like Pete, Utah's in the same concept. Like, if Donovan Mitchell's really that unhappy, then you had to do something to make him happy.
That's not gonna make him happy.
Only thing with Denver is they really didn't have a lot that people wanted. Like, nobody's really gonna go after Austin Rivers or JaMychal Green as pieces that can upgrade their team.
I think somebody actually did want Michael. I think I read that. I forget who it was. Somebody
did they?
Yeah,
but you'd have to attach a draft pick in there. Like, are you really?
They don't really got much of that either.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so you got to attach a second rounder. Whatever. And so it comes down to, like, if you're Denver, you kind of have to gamble Porter Jr. coming back. Hopefully he's healthy, can average 20 points or more a game. If he's not, you kind of have to take the chance if he gets injured again. I'm probably going to get killed for this, but you have to hope that it's a bad enough injury that they can get out of insurance-wise that contract because of his back and like everything that surrounded it. Yeah, like otherwise it's like he's just never going to be able to live up to that.
I'm going to compare his contract, just to throw it out there, as a bad contract. And just as a Knicks fan, Soda would know this. Amari Stoudemire's contract was the same way. They didn't heavily insure it, and he had the injury issues, and they still signed him to a big deal. And that wound up hurting a lot of their flexibility in the long run. So I think the Nuggets are sort of in that same boat when it comes to a contract, especially with a guy that only played, 3 games that season, and then he was gone. So, that was bad. And then to add to a point about, we've been talking about the West and East, Coach Norman Fisher said, could any team in the West really do anything to make them better than the Suns? And he said, the answer is really no. I mean, it's hard because I think the Suns are a team that's very balanced both ways, from top to bottom. Like when it comes to the starters and the bench, like JaVale McGee was one of those sneaky pickups that just was really good.
They have everything. They have experience. They have youth. They have, like you just said, it's the perfect balance. So, with that comment, I fully agree because
me too.
If you look at all the upgrades, it was done on the East. Like no team in the West did a major upgrade like that,
Besides the Pelicans, which
I mean,
Yeah,
but
CJ.
but the Pelicans are.
Clippers.
Clippers
Yeah.
too. Clippers and Pelicans were probably the two.
But
winners
like
from
like
that.
he said, it doesn't make them better than the Suns. You know what I'm saying? Like
No.
they were all great upgrades, but
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, because Golden State's banking on Wiseman to come back.
and,
Like that's
Draymond.
kind of their upgrade, and I don't really see that working in their favor because you're having to work a guy in that struggled. That
Defensively,
obviously,
too.
yeah, like it's just I don't really see it. And Memphis is one that I was surprised that they didn't kind of pull together some of their depth, like Xavier Tillman, Kyle Anderson, like a pick or two, and get like a little bit of an upgrade somewhere just to shore up themselves because they're in third right now, but they're right nipping on the heels of Golden State.
Yeah.
So,
but they're playing great basketball. They're one of those teams that was very not predicted to do as well as they are. So definitely kudos to them for playing so well.
Yeah. And then my East Coast loser, I'd probably have to say is Washington.
Really?
Because I don't think Porzingis and Bradley Beal are ever going to play together. Like, Porzingis is injury prone, and then now of late, Bradley Beal has been injury prone. So you're banking your future right now on two guys that, okay, if they stay healthy at the same time together, we're going to have a decent combination. Yeah, you hope they stay healthy.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that just because I think they ridded themselves of Dinwiddie, who was having a lot of locker room problems with a lot of the players, and they wanted him out. And Davis Bertans, whose contract was awful when they signed him to it, and they basically dumped him off on another team. Yes, you're right. Porzingis and Bradley Beal have both been injury prone. However, I think they improved a lot more with that trade than before because Bertans wasn't really doing much this year anyway, let's be honest. And Dinwiddie's been inconsistent.
It's the quality of like where they have players. So now you have no point guard. So Raul Neto and Ish Smith are your point guards. That's the worst point guard tandem in the league by far.
Ish Smith is like a bench guy, but he's not like really.
He's like a 6-man type role.
He's like a 6-man. He's solid for a bench guy, but not as a starter. Like I agree with
their
that.
Two guard in place of Beal is Corey Kispert, who hasn't really shot it that great this year.
Yikes.
Contavious Caldwell-Pope is decent, at small forward, but you got Denny Advia, who they need to get minutes for. Kuzma has been really good this year. But then now you move off of Montrezl Harrell at your center spot because you said, there's too much depth on the center spot because we want to play Gafford and we want to play Thomas Bryant. You didn't move Bryant or Gafford. Now you got Porzingis in the way. And it's like, and you got Rui Hachimura at power forward behind Kuzma. So it's like this collection of assets doesn't really, to me, signify that you wanted to go all in to keep Beal. So you have to kind of know something behind the scenes of like maybe Beal was secretly wanting out. Kind of like you could read the tea leaves with James Harden, maybe the same with Beal, because obviously Boston's in play because of Jason Tatum. I don't see it happening just because I don't think Boston has enough assets to really go get him.
Yeah.
But if you're Bradley Beal, you pretty much have your pick of teams that you want to go to, if you went out. And if you're Washington, you have to hope that if Beal does want out, you do a sign and trade, you can get a lot back for Beal to re-energize your franchise and hope that you maybe can get a point guard in the draft. It's the only way this works because, Porzingis is addition by subtraction in a sense because he doesn't play in half of the games. Like he was like, oh yeah, I'm ready to go after the trade, and then
I read that today too. Yeah.
Oh, my knee's a little bit sore. I need more time to ramp up. Like, dude, how much more time do you whatever? Like you can go get a sub sandwich and you look just fine walking around on everything like that, and then all of a sudden, oh, my knee hurts.
Well, I'll tell you this: what Coach Norman Fisher said is true, and I've been saying this all along. The Knicks look like geniuses for with Kristaps Porzingis for trading him away. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, you look like geniuses because he hurt. I wouldn't say that trade value you got back made you a genius.
Hell no, that trade value was ass. We know that already. Let's not even get into that.
If he would have never gotten hurt, he was athletic. He was able to block shots, kind of shoot off the move a little bit, could get in the post and score a little bit. Now it just looks like everything, like a typical super tall person, once your skill set, like as far as being a difference maker with the height and versatility is gone, what else are you going to bring? You're
he's
stiff
capped.
out on the floor.
He's
Yeah.
capped.
You're a standstill shooter like they had for
capped.
like what Rick Carlisle turned him into last year. That's what you are. That's your best mismatch is your height to shoot over somebody from the perimeter. Because Porzingis can't post up a 6'5" guard. He damn sure ain't posting up a 6'10" forward or center. Like it's not going to happen.
He has got the body strength to really do that.
No.
All right. So now we get
That's
to
always
the
been his
juicy.
knock, the body strength.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody knows that he need to hit the weight room a little bit there. But now to the juicy part, if you will. All right. I wish you had a spotlight so I could put it right on Pete. You know what I mean? Cue to like the Chicago Bulls intro theme music, so he can have his moment to be so excited about his latest addition and subtraction, his addition of James Harden to the 76ers and his subtraction of the Philly fan favorite Ben Simmons. So how are you feeling about that move for the 76ers and for the Nets, because both sides play a part here?
All right, so obviously I'm a Sixers fan at heart, diehard Sixers fan, but I'm a realistic Sixers fan. So I have to look at it under the lens for both sides. The first side for Philly is Simmons is gone, so you already had a negative asset essentially that wasn't going to play no matter what. Like there was no way you were going to convince him to play if the trade hadn't gone through. Wasn't going to happen. You move off of your best shooter on the team in Seth Curry. You get James Harden, and that's great for this year, which is a half of season, and probably next year. But the contract coming in to play over $250 million for a player that's 33 years old plus. So at 36, 37 years old, he's making $50 million a year. What are you going to do with that with a guy that has hamstring issues? So you're banking on the trade for now, but Daryl Morey is so infatuated, he never thought about in the future of how am I going to be able to get off of this in 3 years if this doesn't work? Because you have a year and a half to get this done before a team like Cleveland that's already surging. You've got other teams that are making moves to get better, that they start getting better and better and better. And then Embiid starts fading because he's bigger in size. He already has conditioning issues and he can't play at a high level with no help for 3-4 years. So they banked on James Harden coming in. Okay, you can come in, you're going to be able to make a immediate impact, but where on the Sixers is anybody going to be able to shoot outside of Harden and in a pick and pop, maybe a pick and roll every once in a while with Embiid? Where else are you going to get scoring other than maybe Tobias Harris now and then? So I worry in the short term, unless they get shooting in the buyout market or somebody like Korkmaz steps up and somehow turns the season around, where is that 3-point shooting going to come to put James Harden at his best attribute, which is being electric, being able to get guys open because he can pass, even though people in the past have said, oh, he never passes the ball. He's an elite passer that has very good vision. It's just, are you going to be able to keep him happy on the floor, not being the number one guy, which he's not going to be because Embiid is. But is he going to have to do it all? And that's where I think he got frustrated with Brooklyn. All right, well, Kyrie's a part-time player. KD's out. I'm doing everything again. I don't want to do this, because I'm going to get hurt and my window of a championship is gone. So there's a lot of question marks with Philly. Whereas on the Brooklyn side of it, I think with Ben Simmons, now he's shifting to power forward, small ball center. It's perfect for him because he can play the Draymond role. Once everybody's healthy, you've got Kyrie at point guard, Seth Curry at shooting guard. Those are options that can score on the wing. KD's a lethal shooter, obviously. If Joe Harris can somehow get healthy, that's another 3-point shooter. If not, then you've got Simmons in there, and then you've got LaMarcus Aldridge being able to shoot in the mid-range as well. So there's a lot of viable options to make it a little bit better trade long-term for Brooklyn, whereas in the short term for this season, I think it benefits Philly more because they push themselves up a tier to a legit finals contender just depending on health and things like that. The only negative I had on it was from Philly's side was Curry, losing Curry. I didn't like that. I did think it was savage that, Morey goes to Doc Rivers and he's like, well, shit, I already traded my son. No problem in trading my son-in-law too. So, he doesn't give a.
Well, I think the cost would have been either him, Thibault, or Maxey.
Maxey's a no, because Maxey's skill set is too valuable.
Yeah, I agree.
Long term. Thibault, they're banking on his defensive versatility, but he gives you nothing on offense. And they don't have any other defenders on the team. So you kind of had to look at it as, all right, we give up offense in Curry. He wasn't giving us defense, so we keep the defender in Thibault in hopes that he plays and Danny Green is coming off the bench. But now Green coming off the bench, he's not that kind of a player that's going to give you a spark shooting the ball. He's a fill-in guy that can knock down like 2 threes a game, maybe 3, and that's about it. That Philly just needs more shooting and more front court help, I think, moving forward, because I still would say, in my opinion, the Milwaukee Bucks are the favorites coming out of the East, because I don't see anybody being able to stop Giannis and a healthy Middleton and Holiday as far as the teams that are out there, because if it all depends on Brooklyn, if that first round matchup is not a road matchup, then Kyrie's not playing in some of those games, and that's tough, because I think as much hate as Kyrie gets, Kyrie takes a lot of pressure off of KD and now Ben Simmons and gets guys open, because now all really Kyrie has to do is kind of be a decoy. He can lob it up over. Simmons is 6'11". Simmons surely can catch the damn ball and lay it in on a pick and roll and not have a anxiety mental issue like he did last year. I would hope.
He's going to pass it up. You know that already.
I don't know. But his skill set, Ben Simmons, for what they have around in elite scorers like KD and Kyrie, is perfect. He's not having to throw the ball in the post to anybody. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like Brooklyn took a gamble to get off of Harden and not having to pay him that much money. It actually, in the long term, like I said, will work out, I think, better for Brooklyn than it will Philly. But I think right now, Philly has this year and next year to win a title. If not, then it's a bust trade, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we had a comment that says shooting is overrated in the East. As far as the length of Harden's contract goes, name a younger player you'd rather have on your team over him right now. I was coach number
younger player. I'd have to think about it for a second. And you already have Maxey as your point guard. Personally, I would have rather. Hell, if you would have known Tyrese Halliburton was up for grabs like that, Halliburton would have been my choice to go get, because Halliburton could have played the 1, and you could have had Maxey as your scorer as the 2. You wouldn't have had to lose Curry, for that. Like, you could have, Simmons and something else, and 2 or even 3 first-round picks along with or 2 first-round picks and Simmons, and go get, Thibault and something. To me, that would have been better if you're looking long-term value.
Okay,
yeah.
Long-term.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. So who wants the mic next?
Well.
Uh-oh.
Well, so more along to what like Pete said. So obviously, I think the trade benefited both, but I think it leans more towards Brooklyn.
Okay.
Stay off the weed comment.
Hey, I said long-term Halliburton because I'm looking at 3-4 years. Harden's not going to be healthy in 4 years.
Oh, shit, I'm crying right now. That's hilarious.
Out of this trade, I just see Brooklyn being, a bigger winner than the 76ers. They get Curry, who's another another sharpshooter. to go along with other shooters like they have, with a healthy KD, a healthy Kyrie when he plays, Patty Mills, and then instead of giving or giving away draft picks, they acquired 2 first-round picks. So, all in all, that it's a plus. With James Harden, with the 76ers, that is a good trade for them for right now. It creates a lethal pick and roll situation with Embiid, which is going to be interesting, and it's going to be tough to stop. Because it's like pick your poison. Is it pick and pop. With Embiid or with Harden. So, I do like though what Brooklyn did. They get Simmons, who, when healthy, and if he gets back into playing shape, he could be defensive player of the year candidate. He's one of the best defenders in the game. And then Drummond, a big body, they needed a center because Claxton, he's good, but given minutes, Drummond could easily get you 10 to 20 minutes, 10 to 20 rebounds a game. Anywhere or like 15. Let's put it right down the middle, 15. So it's unfortunate we didn't see more of this, Kyrie, Harden, and KD situation. They only played 16 games, but both teams, they got their venom out of the way. So now it's try to see how everything fits. So we're not going to see Harden right away with play with Philly. I think it's going to be like another week or so till he'll be in uniform and whatnot. So I'm still interested to seeing what happens with Maxey, because Maxey is usually the one running the point. So now with Maxey, it's like, does he become like a shooter or more of a scoring threat?
He's going to play 2 guard. Harden will play the 1 more than likely.
He plays though. He can play off guard,
right?
Like he did at Kentucky.
But losing Seth Curry really hurts. Mm-hmm. I felt like talking to my dad about it, I was like, damn, like who's gonna be their like shooter, like when they need a big shot, they're depending on Embiid, because Embiid has improved his range on shooting threes, but I think losing Seth was real crucial to that trade.
I'll go now because usually I go last, but I feel like since both of y'all are going the route of you like the long term for Brooklyn and the short term for the 76ers, I think both it helps the 76ers long term because it gave them something that they have not had for a long time. And that is a legitimate second option for Joel Embiid. As much as we like Ben Simmons' game, if you're talking about what he's done for Ben Simmons, he did jack shit. If you look at the playoff series, you could go ask Ant, the Boston fan. They wasn't guarding Ben Simmons. You could go ask Atlanta Hawk fans. They wasn't guarding Ben Simmons. So if you're talking long-term for their playoff hopes, you had to get rid of Ben Simmons eventually. Because how many series could the 76ers keep losing where Ben Simmons is out there on the three-point line, he's not going to shoot the ball, and teams just go, okay, I'm going to back up off you. Go ahead, big fella.
Yep.
For any value that he gives you on the court, because he can't shoot, I don't have to guard him. Even like in Rondo's prime, his knock was, oh, he's not a great outside shooter. But even Rondo would make you be honest. He would at least shoot it and say, okay, you're going to give it to me. He's going to make them. That's how you get the nickname Playoff Rondo. He started hitting threes to make people say, okay, I got to go guard him. Ben Simmons wasn't even doing that. So then it becomes, who do you rather have, Steph Curry or James Harden? I'm going to say James Harden. Because the upside is if he's healthy, let's say he was pulling a Kawhi, air quotes. Let's put he's pulling a Kawhi. That this hamstring injury was similar to like Kawhi with the Spurs. That it was hurt, but I'm really nursing it because I just want to get traded. Because the last 2 games that forced their hand was he said to them, I'm not traveling to Miami and I'm not playing. I think it was Friday they had a game. Right. So basically he forced their hand and said, you got no choice to trade me because I'm not even going to show up for the games no more.
Right. He wanted to go back to Houston.
So he basically said to them, get me out of here. So the Nets traded him, got the best available option. In a series, you now have to say to yourself, are we leaving Joel Embiid to go double him when James Harden has the ball in his hand? You're not doing that because James Harden can score. The passing that Pete talked about. Now I'm asking Danny Green, an experienced playoff shooter. I'm asking Thibault, even though he's not a great shooter, even Tobias, who on his career normally shoots 35, anywhere between 35 to 40, he's significantly down this year. Can you make a wide open shot with the amount of gravity that James Harden and Joel Embiid have? They have not had that on that team with Ben Simmons. As far as defense, Philly has maintained the 9th best defense in the NBA. That's top 10 without their best defender. That didn't really help his cause. They have a top 10 offense without him on the court. Didn't really help his cause. So when you're talking about the Nets, okay, yeah, you're going to help Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving look good. They look good without you on the court. Now, is he equivalent to Draymond? I don't think his passing is equivalent to Draymond. I think Draymond's passing is he literally reads a play and makes the right decision to anybody on that Golden State Warriors team. I think Ben Simmons' passing is a product of rebound and push, kind of like the Miami Heat LeBron, which was you stacked him with a bunch of three-point shooters around him, and then you let him drive in the lane and kick it out to Battier, Ray Allen, and Mike Miller.
That's a good point.
I think his passing is like that, but I don't think his passing is I come down the court like Draymond and I can read the defense and I make the right play every time. So I think for the best thing for the Nets was you get a player who wants to play again. He didn't want to be in Philly. He's going to come into Brooklyn happy and motivated that I'm here in a different environment. I get to play with KD, I get to play with Kyrie, and he's going to eventually step on that court and give it all he can to prove that the player we last saw in Philly is not Ben Simmons. And I think, but in terms of what takes them long-term from a championship contending team, I think eventually you have to address the Kyrie situation. If New York State doesn't, if times don't improve and next season a vaccine is still required for Kyrie Irving to play in home games and he's still not vaccinated, Ben Simmons and Kevin Durant not going to be enough to win a championship. But is a healthy James Harden and Joel Embiid enough to win a championship for Philly? Absolutely. And that's the only reason why I look at it from that standpoint. And the other thing, lastly, is the Brooklyn Nets took that contract extension off the table from Kyrie Irving. So if they say to Kyrie, we're not going to extend you because you're not vaccinated, okay, so then now the 76, the Nets, okay, you're going to try to win a championship with Ben Simmons and KD? Good luck with that. So
because you trade Kyrie later and get maybe some assets. You may obviously not going to get full value for him, but could you get some assets that maybe fill around? But yeah, that's a good point because then unless you get a premier point guard back, you're throwing Simmons back into a point guard role, which I personally don't think is the best for him. Yeah. Because once you hit the half court, he can't do anything. Like you said, transition is, his best value. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a good point with all of that.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just go by what Coach Norman Fisher said. I agree that basically he thinks that the Philly fans and the media are bad. Hasn't dealt with New York yet. New York is they ruthless. They don't give two. You know what? I'm just being honest.
Yeah, but is Brooklyn going to be as bad as the Knicks? Like as far as the media outlets? Like I don't think because Kyrie's getting flack, but it's not as bad as it could be.
No,
in some senses.
No, never.
Where
never
I think with Simmons gets a little bit of a pass because, like, the mental health stuff, you have to take him at his word of like, hey, look, like I'm not happy in this situation. You basically get to a situation where you feel like, okay, I'm out of that situation. My confidence can build back up. Like that's where Kyrie and KD have to take him aside and say, look, and Patty Mills too, because they're good friends. And say, look, like I know a lot is on your shoulders to perform, but you need to play your game, at the best level you can, and then let him ease into it. If he comes in thinking, oh, I've got to be this all NBA world defender and I've got to average 15 points a game and start jacking up some threes, that's gonna mess with him more than help the Nets. Like, so it just comes down to what else are they going to do to keep him comfortable. And one question mark I have for Brooklyn is what are they going to do in the meantime with all this mix and matching because of like they've already lost what is it 10 straight that they've lost, so then they have a tough schedule coming up. Like Steve Nash doesn't seem like I love Steve Nash's game, but I don't think Steve Nash at this point. I think a lot of the guys, maybe not everybody, but a lot of the guys have kind of waved him off in a sense of like, all right, dude, like your positivity's coming across, like enough's enough. Like how, like, come on, like we've lost 10 in a row. Like, what are you going to do to change up the rotations? Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Like, why was DeAndre Bembry and Bruce Brown playing in key moments when you've got like Cameron Thomas being able? I mean, hell, Cameron Thomas will jack up a shot before he's down like barely past half court. But at the same time, I would rather take the scoring prowess of Cam Thomas than sit there and bank on a little floater from Bruce Brown at 6'4" playing the center spot. Like, that's not really going to do anything. And then DeAndre Bembry, who's a negative on offense, like the rotations just weren't cutting it. And I think you've got like KD, who's not going to say a lot because he gets killed in the media so much for when he does speak out. So he's not going to say a lot out loud. But then you had James Harden, that was the one where it was like, what the hell are we doing with this offense? Yeah. And then he got killed by the other guys because it's like, well, you're not being a team player, but he had legit questions. Like, what the hell is this rotation? Like, why are we not playing like this? KD, we're playing the style you want to play, spreading the ball around to who? Bruce Brown? Like, what are we doing here? Like, and that's where it's like it's all great for Steve Nash to get everybody involved, but you got to get the right players involved that make winning plays, not make everybody happy on the team. You're going to have 5 or 6 guys where they can't stand Steve Nash because they don't play, but that's your 5 or 6 guys that should be stuck to the bench as is. Like, Blake. I mean, sorry, yeah, like Blake Griffin and James Johnson. Like, I'm sorry, like you're past your days of being able to contribute. Sit down. Like, let's give Cam Thomas and Kessler Edwards minutes that can effectively give you energized minutes and give you a plus on the floor.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll keep my thing brief because for time purposes. Yeah, obviously everybody knows the 76ers and the Nets were winners. I think also, just to add on to it, the Clippers and Pelicans are also winners too. I think they made some good moves. Pelicans are on a winning trend, and the Clippers are playing better. So I think those two teams need to definitely be up there in the winners. One thing I did want to touch on is miraculously now, and just me just saying this out loud, as a person who has dealt with mental health issues, all of a sudden it seems like mental health for Ben Simmons has disappeared all of a sudden, and he is getting absolutely lambasted on social media for basically a quote unquote faking his mental health stuff. And just as a person that's dealt with stuff before and has reached out for help, and I read an article yesterday from Gary Trent Jr. who said that he was dealing with a lot of depression and a lot of stuff, and he had nobody to reach out to besides his father. And trying to get help, and getting help is not easy for a lot of people. And he said that his son was unhappy, and he could see it. He sees that his son is happy. He got the help. He got the trade. He got what he wanted, and he was in a situation he didn't want to be. He got out of it, but he did things the right way. He didn't do it the way that Ben Simmons obviously did it, and he didn't go out into the media and say, oh, I'm having mental health issues and this and that, blah, blah, blah. He didn't make a big deal of it. He just handled it, made sure he did that. So I don't respect Ben Simmons for that. At all. Like, yeah, he got traded and the team got better or whatnot, but I still think that realistically, I'm just going to say that I think he's a bitch because him using that as a cop out to get what you want. You don't ever use mental health as a way to get what you want. Players in the NBA like DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love, both advocates for it big time, because Kevin Love talks about it all the time that he suffers from a lot of depression.
Yeah.
And same thing with DeRozan. And I think that's an insult to those two guys, too, that he uses that kind of stuff.
Well,
but in his defense, though, what if he does have it?
No, I was going to go down that route because it's like we don't know that for sure.
Because if you think about it, like he did that pass, he passed out of that layup dunk attempt, whatever, and then got
But that
killed.
could be more of a mental. That could be more of a mental block that he's having.
Yeah, but everybody has come after him.
Exactly. After that moment, he major.
Everything turned.
Okay.
So if you've got everybody attacking you, even your head coach and your best player on your team attacking him, throwing him under the bus.
I don't think his head coach came after. I think he just couldn't.
They both threw him under the bus.
The problem with Ben Simmons is
Embiid more did. Embiid said, "I."
And he's sensitive as is because he was so conditioned to having everything his way, the way he wanted it. And
we know he's sensitive. Shaq roasted him, and
Ben Simmons' problem is how he handled it with the 76ers. Like he was still being fined from the 76ers because he never did submit the medical documentation that they asked for to show that he has going and getting help. But so that's where he's kind of walked himself into a problem.
That's where my issue is. There's no.
If you had supplied the proof that you were going and getting help, and everybody who has a job, you have to do that. You have to provide medical documentation that you're going to get help, especially if you're saying that you're not fit to work.
Yeah, exactly.
And he hasn't done that. So the problem's going to be now that's the other problem for Brooklyn. When do you let him play? Because if he plays too soon, you know somebody's going to go, oh man,
he also never got the 76 medical proof as well, so that's why they didn't pay him.
I don't see him playing until KD plays. I'm gonna be very honest.
I agree. 100% agree.
I don't see him playing until Kevin Durant plays.
You can't throw him out in the fire by himself. With that team, the way they are right now, if he struggles even one game coming out of the gate, see, this Ben Simmons ain't gonna work. And then his confidence is gonna go, and then he's gonna go back into a corner. The thing that I look at is, I'm going to give Ben Simmons the benefit of the doubt of, okay, the situation was bad. You might have had some anxiety. You're not normally treated unlike a king, so to speak, because he was the face of the franchise, whatever, coming in.
Right.
I'll give him benefit of the doubt there, because the flip side of that is, what if he came in like James Harden did and pouted and just threw shots up and said, I don't want to be here. That doesn't make it any better. But so him kind of staying away and not really being around the team, it's kind of like, at least you knew where he stood. Like, he doesn't want to face it. Yeah. Okay. So be it. He's probably dealing with something.
He didn't. Yeah, but he didn't. Like you said, I agree with you guys too with that, because I'm not one that's going to be. I still think he's sort of a bitch because he did that. But yeah, there is no trail for his issues and stuff like that. And not only that, just as adults and as any person. Like, yeah, we're not going to all take criticism well. We're not going to all do this. But when it comes to a point, just as a person, if people are criticizing you constantly for certain things, sometimes you sort of got to sit down and say, hey, maybe I do need to change something or figure something out. And that's his problem. That he acts like a little bitch. I'm just going to say that. Well, because Shaq called him out. And Shaq was being nice.
The way he handled the situation.
Yeah, agree.
But at the same time, it's like, regarding missing that wide open dunk and whatnot, that must have been a mental thing. But then right after, getting all these comments, negative comments, and you can imagine probably death threats and whatnot.
See, that's extreme. I mean, that you don't need to do.
That I would never condone that.
No, me neither. That's extreme.
All I'm getting at is, I don't know that man to know if he's telling the truth. That's all. All I'm saying is
we don't know.
We don't.
But what we do know,
I don't think he is, but I don't know that man's either. You're right.
He didn't provide them with the documentation that they need.
He provided
He will have to, though, because when they go to arbitration over the contract, he's going to have to turn over the psychiatrist that he's seeing. Yes. He has to legally turn that over in order to get his money back out of the Sixers. And the Sixers are going to say, look, we tried to do a team appointed therapist and you didn't want to do it. So it's a long battle. It's going to take 2 to 3 years to resolve. So we'll have to see there. You also have to think off the court issues with Simmons go all the way back to the Kendall Jenner thing. When they broke up, he kind of hit a downward spiral too. And then it carried over because he was kind of more in the spotlight as far as what comes with the Kardashians and the Jenner family, stuff like that. So when that, I mean, kind of, but when that went sideways, then it was like, oh, she's now with Devin Booker and I have to see this and all that stuff. All that plays a part in, regardless if people want to admit it or not, personal relationships and stuff like that affect on court performance. Then you got Joel Embiid, who's like a troll and does stuff for comedy reasons, didn't exactly get behind him and support him when he was on the team either. And then in his detriment, he did it's either me or Jimmy Butler crap to the front office. And then the front office said, got to go, Jimmy Butler. We're going with Ben Simmons. And just everything, in a sense, Simmons did to himself throughout the thing. But I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt of, I think he did have mental anxiety and it was an issue. Now, if he has a second issue with Brooklyn and says, oh, guys, I can't ramp up to play, and it's April 5th and he still hasn't seen the court, then yeah, that's a big issue, because it's like, okay, your situation's changed. You're still having mental anxiety. Do you want to play basketball, or what are we doing here?
Gotcha.
I mean, I agree. And then just to add on to the Embiid thing, I think Embiid is probably the GOAT troll in the NBA right now. Listen, he said
not better than LeBron James asking, is James Harden healthy?
No.
That was,
listen,
dude, I fell out of my seat on that one.
No,
like even KD
seat.
cracked a smile.
Dude, I fell out my seat when they were doing the drafting, and they're like, "Oh, we're down to the last 2 picks is between Gobert and Harden." And KD's face was just like stone cold, like this, and he's like,
you could tell he's biting the inside of his mouth though, because he would not move his lips at all.
He was like,
and he was like, I can't show emotion.
He said, I need some paint. He's like, I need some paint presence. He was like, I'm going with Rudy Gobert. His face was just stone cold. He was just like, I'm going with Rudy Gobert. I was
Henry,
just like,
real quick, you mentioned what teams were winners? The 2 teams that were winners?
Oh, I did. I also like the moves that the Pelicans have done and the Clippers. Yeah, because I think
Clippers?
that.
Okay. So since we're just naming winners, I'm gonna add the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yes, that's another one I forgot. Thank you very much.
I feel like they were probably one of the biggest winners. Obviously, adding LeVert, who in my opinion, it's a low risk, high reward kind of situation. And it just kind of like it rounds up the rotation. You know, they lose Rubio, who's actually playing pretty, good with them. But LeVert is he's a scorer. He's somebody who can create his own shots. And with the addition of LeVert, it kind of turned the Cavaliers into real contenders. And it's kind of weird saying it, because we, before the season, we didn't think the Cavs were.
Cavs have one of the better defenses in the NBA this year too.
Right. So everything, I think, it was a perfect acquisition. And we'll see how far they go, because right now they're 34 and
35 and 21.
35 and 21.
Cleveland has a good chance.
Second, tied for second with Chicago.
They have They have a chance to make some noise in the playoffs. I know I've seen some people make bets on them, actually, since Cincinnati is in the Super Bowl. Yeah. They've made some bets for Cleveland winning now too. So that's interesting.
And they didn't give much to get him. They just gave up a first round, which is probably going to be a late pick. They gave out 2 second rounds, but they got a second round in return. And Rubio, who's going to be out.
Well, probably
obviously who's out this season, and most likely, a majority of next season.
Yeah, by about half of next year.
But yeah, that's a scary starting 5.
Mm-hmm. Well, and especially if they get Sexton back next year too to add into the mix, because really, honestly, I would put Sexton as your go-to 6-man, like that can be a microwave scorer.
And he was playing, better defense, and this year too, Sexton. He was playing better this year. His scoring was down, but he was playing a more well-rounded basketball this year. So I definitely
shout out to JB. That should be coach of the year. JB Bigstaff, coach of the year.
I fully agree. It's down to him and Billy Donovan, like who. Monty Williams has got to be in there too, though, because that's 2 years in a row.
Oh yeah, he got robbed. We know that already.
Yeah, I mean, that was
robbed.
I'm not gonna disagree. I had Tibbs as a dark horse, but I didn't really think he would win.
Tibbs got to get that trophy back.
You had Tibbs as a dark horse for what?
For coach of the year last year.
Coach of the year
last year.
Last year, not this year. Last year.
Not this year. Hell no. This year he's gonna be fired this year. We already know that.
He don't rock with Tibbs this year.
Hell no.
He don't rock with him. He don't change the whole hairstyle and everything. He not.
No.
I think Indiana is a team you have to look at that got better because they got off the 2 bigs lineup, but I still have to see more from like what is it going to look like when Miles Turner comes back. Obviously, they're not going to win this year because they're already way out of it. But maybe for next year, building forward once they trade Brogdon, who I think is going to get traded in the offseason. We talked about it kind of when we were texting back and forth, but I really like Derek White for Boston because Derek White being able to play the combo guard role.
So it was not his head.
So I was like, damn, like we lost Derek White.
I was mad. I really was mad.
It's all right.
like,
y'all gonna rock with Josh
to go with a
Richardson.
bigger wing to go alongside Murray.
Y'all got Josh Richardson. Y'all be all right.
But I think now they're playing Vassell at the 2. Vassell is going to be the starter.
Yeah.
At the 2,
which
actually works out better.
You're like, what the hell are we gonna do with Josh Richardson? I'm dead.
But I feel like White's the upgrade that they needed from a playmaker standpoint.
Yeah,
and I think he's better than what he shot from 3 so far this year. I think he's a good 36% 3-point shooter, which is good enough for what they need. Now the key is going to be what can Boston get on the buyout market, or some type of shooting going forward. But they've won, what is it, 8 in a row that they've won with that big two big lineup of Time Lord and Horford. So
yeah,
I think they'll push up in the standings, and I could see Chicago falling down because they've got a tough schedule and all of the injuries as well. And I could actually see, even though Charlotte made the move for Harrell, not having Gordon Hayward and kind of what he does, which that was some bull, like all the way around. Like the ref wouldn't call like a stoppage of play. Horford's laying on the ground for 2 straight plays, and literally had to scoot himself out of the way so Gary Trent Jr. doesn't step on him coming back down the court on a play. Like that was awful to see that. But Hayward hurting that ankle on the leg that he had already hurt previously when in Boston, that's not good. And Charlotte's been really struggling. The good thing, I guess, for Charlotte is, it's Atlanta, Washington, New York that are behind them. So it's really,
they got some breathing room to work with.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
All right. So now on to the buyout market.
Oof.
I got one that
who does somebody have?
I got one.
I think we all can say one because it ain't that much in the buyout market.
I was thinking Dennis Schroeder. I heard the Rockets are probably going to buy him out, and the irony of it is, well, you're gonna hate me for this one, Keith, but the number one team,
Lakers.
The Lakers.
I don't see that at all.
They were trying to re-sign him in the first place. He had other plans.
My man's gonna fumble the bag twice.
He wanted to go play for free for the Celtics just to get traded.
He's gonna go to the Lakers and he's gonna fumble the bag again.
If the Lakers decide to pick him up, I could get it. Team,
I'm going to ask you because obviously you're the Lakers.
You were happy when they got rid of him. Now you want him back. Man. If they get Schroeder and
different
what
circumstances
he can bring
now.
Do you bring Westbrook off the bench or do you bring Schroeder off the bench?
No. You got to bring Schroeder off the bench. I've always thought
Schroeder
is better as a 6-man. He shined with that with OKC with Chris Paul, and this Russell on the bench. Talking about, I wish I could help you guys. Like, you're not helping them on the court. What the hell are you talking about? But I would much rather have him in this because it looks weird, him on the sideline. Because then LeBron and AD are getting mad because it's like, okay, we're losing with him on the court and we're losing with him off the court. So you might as well just keep him on the court at this point. Yeah. At least, like the whole monkey, not to be long-winded with the Lakers, but the whole monkey wrench in this is because Kendrick Nunn is probably never going to play a game for the Los Angeles Lakers. True. If you had Nunn, then you probably would be playing Nunn more. So the Lakers badly need a backup point guard option. So I could see why Dennis Schroeder would be an option.
Yep. So he could just fumble the bag again too. That'd be the most ironic thing I've ever seen in my life. I'd probably crack up.
My one name, because who said who said Schroeder? Who is Schroeder? You said Schroeder or Soto said Schroeder?
I said Schroeder.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, Henry said Schroeder. I'm just making sure. I was like, I don't want to confuse who said Schroeder. Since you said Schroeder, I would probably say, as a point guard, I'd probably say Dragic is going to get bought out because he's not going to stay where he's at. Now, some people may say he goes back to.
He is getting bought out. I think that's a confirmation already.
Most people would say he would go to Miami just because that's what he loves it there. That's what he was. Mm-hmm. But I think a team that might go for him, and it's been rumored, and I do believe this possibility would happen, is Dallas, because he gives them another scoring guard Now you may say they have Brunson, but I think at some point in time, Kidd may have to consider putting Brunson in the starting five because him and Luka do work well together.
They traded for Dinwiddie though, like so. If you are trying to maybe package Dinwiddie later to keep Brunson, because you can't afford Dinwiddie and Brunson going into next year.
I think that's what they said. Dinwiddie's the backup plan for Brunson.
I think you could play. I'd rather play Dinwiddie at the 2. I'd rather go get another guard and put Dinwiddie at the 2 and let him focus on being a scorer. I think that's what
Brunson's going to get the bag at the end of the season.
I think that's the mistake that Washington made. Yeah, at times
you could experiment with that.
At times you have to.
Didn't Luka come in the league as a 3?
Yeah, he did. Point forward type.
Yeah, he was playing. Yeah,
he was playing the 3. He was a 2-3 when he came in the league. Yeah,
right. Because they had Dennis Smith.
Yeah.
So I think Washington made that mistake of trying to make Dinwiddie a full-time point guard. That's not really what he is. He's a combo guard. So I think if you let him play off guard, whether it's starting off the bench, that's another scoring option for Dallas. And Dragic, even though he's not a great defender, but he can run an offense, which will take some pressure off Doncic having to do it all the time.
Well, he also wants to play with Luka too, so that's always been that's been said since the beginning of the season that his hope was to play with Dallas, to play with Luka Doncic.
Okay, got you. So Henry, I'm assuming Henry P. Soto or P. What are your buyout options?
I'll go real quick. I'll say John Wall, since everybody's naming a different player. I feel John Wall because honestly, at this point, it's like the Rockets were trying to look for a trade partner, and it kind of seemed like the only trade partner there were the Lakers, and with the whole Westbrook situation. And since that fell through, it's like no other team, I think, in my opinion, is going to trade for John Wall and absorb what does he have left? Like next year, 40, I think he gets paid like 47, 48 mil. So I think this is where like the Rockets just realize, you know what, let's just take the L and let's buy him out with, and if it does happen, you're already seeing, teams like the Lakers already linked it, to John Wall. Maybe a team like Miami could look at John Wall. So John Wall.
My Sixers need a backup big. I prefer a stretch option, but there's not really going to be a ton even on the buyout market, like as far as a stretch 4. Maybe, and it all depends on what he wants to do with OKC, but maybe Derek Favors coming in as a backup big behind Embiid. You could even go for if Robin Lopez out of Orlando comes available. But I feel like you can't go into the playoffs. Paul Millsap's like 6'7".
Robin Lopez,
he's really kind of a center now because he's slower.
The mascots over there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get a big because Paul Reed and Charles Bassey's not going to get it done behind Embiid as far as playoffs go.
What about Tristan Thompson?
I think he goes to Chicago personally. I mean, because Chicago's really wanted him at the deadline. They just couldn't make a deal work with what salary they had to throw it at.
They're probably going to buy him out. They're probably going to buy him out. And I think two other names that are going to get bought out supposedly are Eric Bledsoe and maybe Gary Harris too.
Yeah, I could send Gary Harris to China.
Somebody commented on that and said the sample said Goran Dragic, which we said.
Right.
Schroeder, Tristan Thompson, John Wall, Gary Harris, and Eric Bledsoe. Those are the main names, and I agree.
Harris has a good role in Orlando right now, though, because RJ Hampton's hurt, so he's playing all of the backup minutes, and has actually looked pretty decent considering he's been terrible the last 2 years.
Yeah,
he's looked decent on both sides of the ball.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of looks a little bit like the old Gary Harris that was in Denver a little bit.
This is a weaker buyout market where people were saying like, oh man, the Lakers can thrive in the buyout market, but it's like I can see a couple upgrades, but I don't see like a massive you're getting a starting caliber upgrade. Like you could fill in somebody better, like Robin Lopez, I would take over DeAndre Jordan, and like a DeAndre Bembry, I would take over Kent Bazemore. Those aren't earth-shattering moves by any means.
Right. Which kind of went to my point why, like, the Lakers, didn't make a move because they just thought, all right, let's just test the buyout market, which isn't strong at all. It's not like other years where, like, they picked up that 1 year, they picked up J.R. Smith. They picked up, who was it?
Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond.
They got last year.
Yeah.
So it's like.
that didn't really work out, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that.
Did the Lakers climb up from 9th Can they climb up from 9th?
Can the Lakers climb up from 9th?
I'm gonna say at this point, if with the weak buyout market and the way they're playing, no.
Okay, it's gonna take Russell Westbrook to look like Russell Westbrook.
It's gonna look like Russell Westbrook, look like MVP Westbrook.
Last year, he did the same thing in Washington. It took like the first half of the season, he looked terrible, and then the second half, he finally figured it out, and it was fine. So I'm hoping he does one of those. That he does like he did last year. He struggles first half and then figures out second half. If he doesn't figure it out, I don't really know what the Lakers.
And I'm gonna say the same thing for the Knicks. I don't see the Knicks leapfrogging unless something miraculous miracle happens. And that's
you just had to mention the
plus for the Lakers though.
We talked about the 2 losers, so we got to throw the 2 losers there. So I mean that's realistic. Just being realistic.
So they're 9th right now. So you potentially it would be because 7 and 8 play each other. So it'd be Minnesota as of right now. It'd be Minnesota and the Clippers. Minnesota, you don't know nightly what you're going to get.
Yep.
The Clippers, they don't have their 2 best players. And then the Lakers will play the Pelicans, which you don't know without Zion, technically what you're going to get on the floor. They could easily beat New Orleans, which then puts them in a matchup against Minnesota and the Clippers. They could easily
problem with that
take
is
that out.
That means their first round opponent in the playoffs is going to be Phoenix.
And apparently that's who they want, which I don't understand.
Yeah, they want the revenge because Cameron Payne been talking crazy like he the best player on the Suns, but we're not going to talk about that. And, you know what I mean? It's like LeBron once said, you got to be humble. You was once sitting on your couch. Now you were talking crazy like you out here like that.
I think that's why Cameron Payne is doing that because I think that pissed them off. So, I mean, it is what it is with that. That's just all basketball.
All right, so real fast, though, before we wrap it up. What All-Star event are you looking forward to the most since All-Star Weekend is a week away? Like,
usually for me, it was the dunk, but
dunk's
for recent years, it's been the 3-point.
Besides the year that Levine and Gordon were in it.
Who was in the dunk? I know Obi's in the dunk contest. Who else is in the dunk
Cole
contest?
Anthony, Juan Toscano Anderson,
and Jalen Green.
Obi Toppin, and Jalen Green. You know it's going to be Obi Toppin and Jalen Green. Just go ahead and just put one against one and let them go at it.
My thing is, why did they get rid of having multiple dunkers in the dunk competition and go back to 4? I think that's the problem.
Nobody wants to do it.
Nobody
wants to do it.
Yeah, but they had the outside professional dunkers wanting to do it. Why don't they try to change it up? They change up the All-Star game format with the draft, and they changed up the skills competition.
Yeah,
if you want to revitalize the dunk competition, why don't you just add it back to 6 people and then have like a professional dunker?
I don't know.
What would have been cool? Do a contest where you do a video vote online. You have like the fans vote. You pick 4 or 6 people that are like off the street or whatever that dunk. They submit their videos, whatever. You got to submit like 3 or 4 dunks, and then you vote on one, and then you take one G League player that's like super athletic or whatever. Yeah. That's 2 of your spots, and you get 4 NBA players. That'd be 6, and then basically you got your final 3 move on, 3 get bounced, and then you go down from there.
Gotcha.
Like,
that is bird.
Not seeing the Knicks and Lakers play for a week is the best All-Star event. That's cold.
That's cool. He's a Knicks fan too. That's funny though. But no, I mean I agree, Pete. Like they could get what's his name, Jordan Kilgon. That dude, his dunks are insane. They got a lot of they got him. They got when they had what was the dunk show called that they used to do? It was on TNT.
The Dunk League, I think it was.
I forget what it's called, but they used to have so many amazing, explosive dunkers in there. Yeah. Like you can have them vote on those guys, get a G League guy, and then get 4 NBA players, and then incentivize it. Give them money to do the dunk competition. Like when they had Levine and Gordon do it, that was probably one of the better dunk competitions we've seen in years. The quality's gone down. And then let's be honest, the year that Gordon should have won.
There's a lot of repetitive dunks and stuff like that. So it's like, the skills challenge is
they lower it to 8 feet. And then,
the skills challenge is 3 teams. You have the Antetokounmpos, all 3 brothers. You have the Cavs team, which consists of Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley. And you have the Rooks, who are Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham, and Josh Giddey. Who do you guys got?
I'm going to go Rooks.
I was leaning towards Rooks, too.
Yeah, I'd probably go Rooks, too.
I mean,
second would probably be
if they're going to let Giannis do every run, then the brothers got to just I would say I mean, it's the Cavs group is not that bad because they are skilled enough. The problem is they fast enough.
Well, yeah,
that's the thing. You got two bigs and the passing.
Do they have the speed to get up to keep up with the rooks that they have?
Right.
The rooks group, I don't know. I gotta see.
And then we got
I wasn't thrilled with any of the three teams. I was just like, that's how you're putting it. That go ahead and fast forward this.
I mean, then we also got the 3-point contest, which Soto said
that's my favorite.
He's looking for. We got Fred VanVleet, we got Desmond Bain, Luke Kennard, Levine, CJ McCollum, Patty Mills, Cat, and Trae Young.
Cat? What? Like
I don't understand how Gary Trent Jr. did not get in.
Over Cat, at least. Like, come on, what are you doing out here?
And there was also some debate with Cam Johnson too.
Yeah, I just
see the problem. Like, they got streaky guys. Like, there's not a lot of pure shooters in that group. There's a lot of
look, he's in it again. It's like, all right, we've seen you in it.
So that's like VanVleet probably to me is going to be my pick.
But for me,
he's the best shooter out of that group.
But then look,
no, Desmond Bain's the best shooter, consistent shooter.
But you see the trend I'm talking about.
See, I got to see him shoot when Ja Morant not passing the ball.
Just to add on to what I said, look, the 3-point contest evolved a little bit because they added the 4-point shot. The skills competition now they're doing teams of, obviously they changed it up this year. Even the what is it used to be the rookies versus the sophomore game changed. They got the regular All-Star game changed, but you're talking about the dunk competition, which still has the same format, which hasn't done anything different. So you're talking about all the other skills competitions actually changing and adapting, becoming more interesting, and the dunk competition not becoming the spotlight it used to be. Right. So maybe that's where the league needs to go in and evaluate how can we bring interest back to the dunk competition.
I mean that's where what Pete said. Like you bring out other players other than NBA players.
But my thing is, why are they not doing it? I just don't understand. Like
if you're gonna there's a lot of like street dunkers and
dude, it's
dunk for a living. So
there's NBA players that have the
you can bring like a YouTuber, like I don't know.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna change all the NBA All-Star events and try to intrigue interest and pique interest. You're changing for most of the events, especially the skills competition or the other ones that they made it more interesting. Now you got the dunk competition, which is not even remotely entertaining anymore.
Here's one thing with the dunk contest, and I'll be very honest. Some people might not like this take, but it is what it is. What has happened with the dunk contest is you got too many, excuse my French, too many fucking crybabies who whined because they lost the dunk contest. It's a dunk contest. You're doing it for fun. Simmer down. Zach LaVine, I like you, but you pouted for like you on strike from the dunk contest, big fella.
Gordon too, Aaron
Gordon Hayward. I'm on strike from the dunk contest.
Well, let me ask you this.
It's not that serious.
Well, the year that Aaron Gordon should have won, do you think he should have won? Do you think D Wade's
Dwayne Wade voted for his mans. Am I really gonna sit there and be that hurt? He voted for his mans.
He did.
Like I'm gonna sit there and be like, "Oh man, he voted for." How dare you vote for Derrick Jones?
I will counter you with that, but you're supposed to be biased in the dunk contest. You're not supposed to vote for your man second.
Yeah, but you know that. I mean,
but it's a personal opinion. If they wanted to alleviate that, then do a fan vote. Let the fans vote. Take away the judges and just do a fan vote if you're worried about that. Then.
Yeah,
when they did that for a couple of years, they had the fan vote factor in a bunch, and it was fun because it was like, all right, players are getting up for this. Like, there's dunks we haven't seen.
I think that's why they need to go back for the dunk, have the fan interaction, like you said.
Yeah, I mean,
and have more dunkers. Your idea is
good. Those legends need like eye surgery and shit like that. So it's like
no, because like it's not even like to them. It's like some of the stuff, some of the dunks these guys do. They have seen them before. There've been other guys who have done those dunk contests. Sometimes these guys do try to pay homage and recreate a dunk. Like guys like recreating Vince Carter's dunk, stuff like that. So you run that risk. If you do somebody else's dunk and it's not better than that person, then you're gonna take a hit.
Right. You could do Vince Carter dunk. Then why don't you make the rim higher and then do it? Then that would be another feat.
But real quick. So just going back to the 3-point contest. So Pete has Desmond Bain, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then Keem has Fred VanVleet.
Yeah.
Henry.
For the 3-point contest?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
You're taking too long. So I'm picking Patty Mills.
I know why you picked.
Go ahead and take Trae Young.
No, I was actually thinking Fred VanVleet too. Honestly.
You gotta go with the undrafted player in the All-Star event.
Either him or I would probably throw maybe a CJ McCollum. That would be
CJ.
He's still hurt over.
He's still hurt.
Traded to the Pelicans.
Even though I heard he had a say, that's the team.
Once he have a pole boy, he be straight.
Yeah. All right. If your choices are Sacramento and New Orleans, like I'm taking New Orleans over Sacramento. Sorry,
you're gonna pick Sacramento. No, I'm joking.
Like
shout out to Jared for that team.
I can't believe Tyrese Halliburton cried so much over leaving Sacramento. Like, I wanted to turn this team around. Like, dude, like nothing you would have done. You could have been a 6-time All-Star and you wouldn't have turned that team around.
I got to give him credit for that. At least he put forth an Oscar-worthy performance. He could have just sat there like, I don't care.
No,
I'm happy with him.
Like,
so I give him credit for at least caring.
I'm just surprised he was available.
I know.
It came so apparently the Pacers like badgered them about Tyrese Halliburton. Hey, they made him more available than you make him in fantasy. So because I've been trying my butt off trying to get Tyrese Halliburton for like 2 months.
So
I know.
So they're not letting him go for nobody.
I'm going to be completely honest with you, Pete. The day that you, when was it? Yesterday or the day before, you accepted a trade with Henry. I almost threw my phone because I was in the process of sending you a trade for DeJounte Murray.
And I would have done. I would have done that. But you took too long, so I was like, "Oh, I'm moving on." He took too long.
Then he made a trade. Then he made a trade with your cousin too, so he got more players.
Yeah. So I just like, all right, you took too long. Hey, because I'm all about like switching my team up all the time. Like I have another league I'm in, and I haven't done anything to my team all year, and I'm in first. So I'm like, well, this league I'm going to change my team up as much as possible.
Gotcha.
But
different. You don't change your team.
Who's in a celebrity game this year? I just thought about that.
Nobody. Like I was like, this is the field. Like
look it up.
I knew a couple people.
Kelly.
No, you know who's in a celebrity and is in Varejao.
Yeah, Boobie Gibson's on the other side.
Boobie. I remember Boobie Gip.
Oh wait, real quick before we talk about celebrity. So dunk contest. Who you guys got?
Who was the contestants again?
Well, all right, I'm taking names.
Really.
It's Toppin, Jalen Green, Juan Toscano Anderson, and
I got Obi.
Cole Anthony.
Cole Anthony has a bounce, but I'm not. I got to see what he can do in a dunk contest. Obi has the experience, but I don't mean I'm gonna pick Obi. I'm gonna go with Jalen Green. If I think of somebody that got the athletic and the creativity, I would probably say Jalen Green.
Okay.
And what else has he got to look forward this season? But the dunk contest, it ain't like the Rockets are doing anything.
Ass. Oh my god.
I'm gonna go Obi Toppin because the Knicks need a win this season. So like,
No, you can't because they get mad when he goes between the legs in games. So you can't even give him that. When he does between the legs,
apparently he's got a dunk that nobody's ever seen before.
Every person says that, and then we see the dunk and they don't even make it.
Oh, look, who's in the Celebrity All-Star game? Machine Gun Kelly.
I said that. That's like the biggest name. Machine Gun Kelly.
I'll read you who we got.
Oh, my God. Miles Garrett is in it?
Yeah, we got Team Walton versus Team Wilkins. It's Team Walton got Jimmy Allen, Brittany Elena. They got Machine Gun Kelly, Derica Hamby. They got Nora Carlock, Nisha Huston.
Who?
Matt James, Olympic.
Who are these people?
Olympia. I know. Oh, they got Quavo.
He does it every year because he knows he's one of the best players on the court.
Said, they got Quavo. Like, he's probably the best player on the court.
Quavo's winning MVP.
They got Revere Singh and Alex Toussaint.
Who?
A Peloton instructor.
Oh my gosh! It's that bad that you got to get a Peloton instructor? I guess they got off of like Ronnie 2K,
right? Because sometimes they get celebrities.
Oh shit! Yeah, they got the Major of Cleveland playing.
Yeah, Mayor Justin Bibb from Team Dominique, Anwell AA, a rapper, Kane Brown, Miles Garrett, Boobie. They got Boobie.
So you got two country singers.
They got the
regular. They got Tiffany Haddish.
Like, okay. What is she gonna do except crack jokes?
She gonna make somebody laugh to death.
I know.
Maybe she could ball. You never know.
Their best bet was to get like some past players. Like, why couldn't you get
they do got somebody? They got
Cleveland legends other than Anderson Varejao and Boobie Gibson. Gibson hasn't picked up a basketball in 5 years.
They got who else? They got Jack Harlow. They got Jack Harlow.
Okay.
Krista Jackson, a Harlem Globetrotter. They got Angelai Randidiv, and Gianmarco Tamberi, Olympic high jump champion.
What is so they get Jack Harlow versus Machine Gun Kelly? What are you getting? Like the whitest rappers that you can find, like to be in the celebrity game to appeal to like the TikTok fans?
Yo, this is bad.
Like,
this is
what
bad.
are they doing? Like, is Tyler Hero going to make an appearance?
Like, this is bad.
You gonna get Tyler?
Awesome.
What's it?
Well, at least we know Quavo is
Kyle
going
Guy
with
and
MVP,
Tyler.
right?
Yeah, Quavo's.
At least we know.
If I can bet on that, I'll do that.
We gonna
Quavo
get Kevin Hart gonna make a
I'm
comeback.
gonna put money on Quavo
retired.
and Miles.
Quavo
Garrett.
MVP.
Yeah, Quavo's
And Miles
probably-
Garrett.
Or
just in
Miles
case.
Garrett. One of those.
Miles
two.
Garrett can ball though. I've seen
Yeah,
him.
one of those.
Well,
two
I've seen the videos.
Yeah, one of those
Miles Garrett's
two
nice.
is an option to win it.
Miles Garrett's nice, bro. That's
So from that
that's a big
standpoint,
one up there.
those are the two choices MVP. How the game's gonna look quality wise, I don't know. Hopefully it's funny.
Tell me who wins.
I usually watch it because
Yeah, I'm not. I can't watch it. I haven't
I ain't
watched it in
watching
a
it.
couple years.
It's comedy sometimes. Sometimes the people they put out there are so bad it's funny.
So, yeah, Kevin Hart got MVP 3 years in a row.
Well, yeah, I think that's the last time I saw the celebrity.
Kevin Hart
When he won,
was
his second or
hooping in them
third.
games. Though.
Nick Cannon's too busy having kids to play. So
Oh my God.
He's,
I mean, because at least he can hoop.
he's playing having kid number 8.
Yeah,
Yikes.
I don't know.
They
It's,
should have put like J. Cole.
who
Yeah, J.
was
Cole
in
can
charge
actually-
of? Hey, so let's go market to celebrities and let's see who we can get for this
Yeah, I'd
game.
rather
Like,
see
I know
YouTube
who's in
hoopers.
charge.
I'd
I'm
rather
gonna throw it out.
see,
I'm
like,
gonna throw it out
T-Jazz
there.
or Cash.
It's position, Pete. Ronnie 2K.
no, he would put himself in the game. Like at least like maybe
Well,
5 people would want to see
they
him
could've
play.
He is
They
the
could've gone
social
with some
media.
phone
Was he a
stuff.
social media ambassador and marketing person for 2K? So that's the only reason why I said that.
They could have gone. With some former
They
hoopers.
could have at least got like some media people, like some like NBA media people that always talk shit about players, and then that way at least their games could look like shit, and then the players can roast them. Like that would have been better.
Let's
That would have been
break
more
Stephen A-
entertaining.
How about
Let's
this?
break Stephen A. Smith out of
They
retirement.
should have put Perkins and Richard Jefferson's dumbasses
Nah,
in
Perkins
there.
is done. Have you seen how big Perkins is now?
Yeah, Perkins has gained at
It's
least
over.
40 pounds.
They should have put like
From what he
Richard
was.
Jefferson, Jay Will.
I watched it.
I
Jay
think
Will, I don't know that Jay Will can get up and like he played. Was it Andrew Schultz, the comedian, like a
Yeah.
couple years ago, and lost like a comedian? You're a former and like leg surgery or not, like.
Yeah.
And I've had multiple knee surgeries. There's no way in fucking hell if I was a former NBA player, would I lose on camera to a comedian that is like literally couldn't beat a YMCA player in a one-on-one, but he beats Jay Will.
It happens. Sometimes they're not taking them serious.
It was bad.
So that's more of the story is the celebrity game. I think
Moral of the story.
Get better rosters.
if we get better rosters, or just let's not even put it out there no more at this point. 'Cause it's that bad of a product.
let's make roster moves unlike the Knicks and Lakers did.
Oh my God, he's on that still. We gotta Knicks management. If you out there somewhere, do something. Do something to help him. I don't care if you got to bring Eddie Curry out of retirement. Do something so that he feels
Yeah,
better
man
about
said
the
Eddie
situation.
Curry. Of all players, Eddie Curry.
He's
Do
another man that
something.
milked the Knicks for money. Let's not even go into that. Another day, another time.
I think Ronaldo Balkman's still playing somewhere. I think he's still in shape. Go get him. Worst case.
I think he plays in Puerto Rico actually.
Yeah.
Apparently he's the GOAT over there.
Oh my God.
The last clip I saw of him, he was beating up a ref. So I ain't too sure about
Yeah. Oh,
that.
why am I not surprised?
All right. So what? Anybody got some closing thoughts?
Shout out to my mother-in-law for making the shirt for me. For
I
my
was gonna say
channel.
that's the merch.
Yep.
There you go.
But still,
I mean, all right. How about this? No explanation
okay.
for the All-Star. Since the All-Star game, who is winning MVP?
James Harden. No, I'm
Yo, you know how ironic, how the irony of that would be if he wins MVP and KD passed up on him. Oh my God.
well, we know. it's not
Oh
gonna be
my
Rudy
God.
Gobert.
Oh
We know
my
that
God.
much.
Mm-mm.
Yo, Rudy Gobert shut down the NBA, bro. What the hell are you talking about?
I think there's some people who don't think that's funny.
No, you gotta make jokes. You gotta make
Donovan
jokes.
Mitchell
about it,
don't
man.
even think that was funny. They wasn't talking for like a week.
They still not talking. They still got beef, those two.
I would be too, making all that money. He can't average more than 10 points.
You
an
got most of
All-Star
the defensive
game,
player of the years, though.
I think Trae Young might go for it because he always got a chip on his
Yeah.
shoulder anytime he plays.
I was going with either LaMelo or Trae Young because it's that type of game to where like LaMelo could rack up a ton of assists. Trae Young's going to rack up assists in the deep
LaMelo
threes.
Okay, I'll go with Giannis.
Giannis?
No DeJounte?
No,
Yeah, man. Wait,
yeah.
He tried to be mod, be like, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna say Giannis.
I
And it's
usually
hard.
don't
He's
name,
like
like,
DeJounte.
No, because Giannis like legit like goes hard.
Yeah, he does take it
He
serious.
does. He does.
He does take it serious. That's why I said like I'm here thinking like, all right, who really like takes it serious? And
He does. He really does.
King,
Giannis.
King, your dad's the king of savage remarks, bro. That's all I got to say.
Yes.
Closing remarks: the Knicks and Lakers will not win a championship this year.
Oh, so funny. That's why the last time the Knicks won, you had an afro.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my dad did too. I'm not going in front.
Kick him out the house.
My dad did too.
Right.
The Knicks and Lakers more. Well, we know the Knicks won't.
Comeback season, second half. They're gonna shock the world. The
Oh,
Lakers got the league right where they want them.
Oh yeah.
Fan on their downfall.
Oh, all right.
They got to do something because LeBron's averaging MVP numbers and he's not even in the conversation. That hurts. A 37-year-old can't be your best player. Come on, AD, we gotta get it together.
Yeah.
At this point, can we have Bronny instead of Russell? Is that possible?
Wow.
Can we do that? Mikey Williams, are you available? We're gonna need you like 18 games.
That's
Jada Williams, maybe? Anybody? Anybody in LA that's available to play for the Lakers right now? I hear Snoop used to play. You trying to run?
oh my God.
Yeah,
I can't take Russell no more.
you might be able to get 2 chains.
Anything is about. I think he got a better jump shot than Russ at this point.
Or you can go get the OG Master P.
No.
He's
Don't do me like that.
the last time the Lakers won, you could still.
First of all, that's exactly. So that was 2020. That was 2020 then. Exactly. So that was 2020. So you're right.
I think we got to end on that.
He was right. He was still hooping.
Just go ahead.
He's still hooping.
I wish I could play the Microsoft window noise right now because that was damn.
That's bad.
The days is past.
Last time the Lakers won, you could still play. Oh,
I coach now. It's
shit.
over. I've been conceded to playing days.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right. My time has passed too.
I've been conceded that.
Well,
I'm not trying.
You're gonna have to address that with your father.
I'd rather be washed than be out here like 35 talking about now we can't play full. Let's play half. I'd rather do that.
Shit, I'll be 35 in 2 years, man.
Oh
I'm
my
already
God.
washed.
Well, I mean, it's
I've been washed for a while now, so it's all good.
Okay. It's okay. Don't do that to yourself.
Shit.
All right. I think you still a better option than who's the worst player on the Knicks right now? I can't think of somebody.
What's Kevin Knox?
It definitely was Kevin Knox, but he's not an option no more.
Lucas Simonic, I guess.
All right, but that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Like always, thanks for watching. If you missed any parts of our live podcast, it's on our YouTube channel, Sounds of the Hardwood. If you prefer an audio version of our podcast as opposed to video, we post it to Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Like always, we'll catch you in the next one. We out.